A couple of days ago, I read that the first children in Gaza have... Speak up. Can maybe just come a little bit closer if you can. The first children in Gaza have now died of hunger. This is the famine. The famine that's going to happen is imminent. It's not going to be as spectacular as the bombs, but it's maybe even worse, maybe even more cruel. I want to talk about right now about speaking out against what's happening. Because we're all here. I want to talk about the importance of speaking out, really. We're all here because we care. We're all here who have thoughts, who have feelings, who have stories. And I think just kind of keeping them inside and let it bottle up is not very healthy. I think speaking out is what everybody needs to do. If we don't speak out, this will eat us. This will eat our soul, I think. We need to speak out, ideally here on the microphone so that everybody can hear it. But if we don't do this, we need to do it with neighbors, with friends, with colleagues, with everybody. There is a real, it's like living in a parallel universe, more and more, where we get this whole genocide streamlined on our mobile phones. But what we hear from politicians, what we hear in the media, is very different. And this is the second reason why we need to speak out, because if we don't speak out, who will?
Yes!
I have a question. Can Gaza turn off the water in Israel?
No!
Can Gaza control Israel's airspace?
No!
Can Gaza control the food, the medical aid, the medicine that goes into Israel?
No!
So something is strange here, isn't it?
Yes.
And what is strange, what we realize if we kind of ask this question, is that these two sides are not equal.
Absolutely.
There is one side with all the power, and there is another side that doesn't have any power whatsoever. There is one side armed to the teeth, and the other side dying in the rubble.
It's not a war, it's a genocide.
It's not a war, that's correct. It's a genocide. So why is that? Why is that? If we ask why that is, we have to kind of go back to history. We have to look at Israel's history of colonization, of illegal occupation, and of oppression. This history is 75 years old. 75 years. I wonder what people in the UK would say if somebody, some sort of kind of foreign power comes, occupies half of the UK, and the other half of the UK is sort of not under occupation but would be reserved for this foreign power. That sort of kind of doesn't feel very fair, does it?
No.
So, this is the situation. What do we hear in the media? Israel has the right to defend itself. Israel has the right to defend itself. Israel has the right to defend itself. Israel has that right. That's what we hear. We hear that every day. We hear that 5 times a day. And it's kind of strange, isn't it? One side, the oppressor, has the right to defend itself against the oppressed. Isn't that a bit of a strange thing?
Yes.
Now, would we teach in our school books that slave owners have the right to defend themselves against the slaves?
No.
No, we wouldn't. Would we read in our history books that the white colonizers in South Africa had a right to defend themselves against the black indigenous people? No, we wouldn't. At least not now anymore. Until recently, we could read this shit, this nonsense. Until recently, Thatcher has called Nelson Mandela a terrorist. Let's not forget that. That's not so long ago. But fortunately, we don't read this anymore. The question is, why is the media saying this? Day in, day out. And what does that really say about the media? What does that say about a media who repeats this claim over and over again?
Liars.
How often in the media do we see that Palestinians are given a voice? How often do we see that?
Never.
On their programs, on new programs, on whatever. We don't. How big is the difference between the reporting on Russia's war in Ukraine and Israel's genocide in Gaza? It's quite a big difference, isn't it? So, if we think about this, if we let this sink in, this kind of idea, Israel has the right to defend itself, and we think that's all a bit strange, but nobody actually mentions that. Actually, that's not true. There is somebody who said that, and that person is actually fairly high up. It's the UN Special Rapporteur, Human Rights Rapporteur on Palestine. Her name is,
Francesca somebody.
what is her name?
Francesca someone, isn't
Yeah,
it?
Francesca something. See, now I'm lost in my
Hang
notes.
on, I can't turn off this film to look.
Francesca Albanese.
That's
Yes,
it, well done.
Francesca Albanese.
Look her
I'll
up.
quote
She's
her.
good.
That's what she said. Israel has a right to defend itself, but it can't claim this right to defend itself when it comes to the people it oppresses. It can't claim this against the people whose land it colonizes. So this is interesting. How often have we heard that the UN rapporteur has actually kind of disagrees here? Never. It just doesn't really come up. What does this teach us? It teaches us one thing. The media is not with us. The media is basically with those that are in power. Another question. How often have we heard that Palestine has the right to defend itself?
Never.
How often have we heard that in the media?
Never.
Maybe I've kind of heard it once or twice in these 4 months, but pretty much this question hasn't even been raised. So again, this tells us everything about the media we need to know. About the double standards and all this. So, and it's the same with our political institutions. The people in power, whether it's in the UK or in the US or in Germany or in any of these countries, they do not represent us anymore. Far from it. And never has this been as obvious as now. Never. This genocide was openly announced by Netanyahu. It was openly announced. And we could see the images. And what did governments do? Nothing. 3 weeks ago, the ICJ ruled that it is plausible that Israel is committing suicide.
And genocide.
And it has asked Israel to put measures in place to stop the killing and to let aid go through. What has Israel done? Nothing. It intensified the genocide. What have other governments done? Nothing. Have they cut diplomatic ties? Have they started to put any economic sanctions in place? No, they haven't. They just keep doing nothing. But we will make them do something, and we can see that this is already happening. We, in our thousands and in our millions, we will not stop. We will not stop speaking up. We will not stop marching. This is all we can do. But it has an effect. Slowly but surely, it has an effect, and we can see it. We will ask for a ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now.
Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
I think we cannot be ignored anymore. The tide is turning. This year is an election year. This is our opportunity to get rid of MPs who do not represent us. This is our opportunity to not vote for MPs who did not demand a ceasefire. And this is what we're going to do. I think some politicians are getting really cold feet, especially in the Labour Party.
Lillian Greenwood, shame on you!
Shame on you.
They're getting scared. It's too late. We will not fall any of their feeble attempts now to get out of the hole that they dig for themselves. We will not forget and we will not forgive. We will not vote for any of them. And this is how we will win.